Hey everyone, it's Michael Groff here to talk to you about your roof. With an active monsoon season expected this year, you need a name you can trust, and that's why you should call Blackstone Roofing Group for all of your roofing needs. Call for your free inspection today. Big or small, they do it all. Tile, shingle, or flat roofing, they can help, offering free inspections and more. Roofing made easy. Call 602-536-9363 or visit blackstoneroofing.com to schedule your free inspection today. And if you tell them Michael Groff sent you, they'll take $500 off the price of your roof replacement. Again, that's 602-536-9363 or blackstoneroofing.com. This is the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion for Friday, the 20th of June. I'm Michael Groff. After an absolutely brutal stretch of heat over the last several days, temperatures headed down this weekend. As a matter of fact, daytime highs may actually be a few degrees below average by Sunday and even Monday. And the other wrinkle in the forecast is we do expect some rain chances over parts of the Southwest. Obviously, the question is, will we see anything here in the valley? Well, we'll get to all of that and a whole lot more as we dive on in. But before we do, it's Friday, and that means it's Photo Friday here. That's where we take a look at some of the photos and/or videos that you guys have submitted. First up, from a few weeks back, David Parnell at Apollo High School. So he's got a whole archive of photos to send in all summer long. So that's good to see that. David is one of the most consistent members of our audience here in submitting photos, and we really do appreciate that. You guys are the eyes and ears of this community, letting us know what's out there, and we really do appreciate that. Not just from here in Phoenix, but all across Arizona and the country, and even internationally sometimes. So we really do appreciate that. And then Beth, of course, up in North Phoenix, always showing us pictures of those flowers and everything that she's got going on up there. And it's amazing that the flowers are still going despite the fact that we have these incredibly hot temperatures. We've got some of our flowers that grow out front that are still okay, but some of our plants in the backyard are not doing so great. Then we head up north to Montana. Buck is up there, and they've had some rounds of showers and thunderstorms, some pretty impressive storms up there, and maybe some more on the way. So, kind of checking in and see what's going on up to the north, but some spectacular photos there, and thank you, Buck. We really do appreciate that. Then we head down towards Southern California. Miles Sampson up at the, now let's see where he was at here. I believe this is the Palm Springs Aerial Tramway. And I believe you have to go up in elevation quite a bit. And if I read his email correctly, of course, it was like 2 a.m. when I read that, but I believe it's up at about 8,500 feet. But whatever the case, that's how you get out of the heat in Southern California. Well, either that or you have to go over to the coast. But you're going to have to fight a lot of crowds to do that. But this is another great way. Plus, you get to take in some wildlife, get up there and just sort of get away, sort of decompress a little bit. And that's what Miles Sampson was doing up there. And we really do appreciate that. And then this is from Chris Martin from his home in Ahwatukee, a shot of the SpaceX launch. Then from his place up in Ash Fork, he's got a picture. You know, it's always cool to look up and see different cloud formations. You know, that one, it's almost like the Rorschach test. Yeah, that one looks like a car, and that one looks like a bus, and that one right there looks like underdog. So why not? All right, groffshow@gmail.com is the email address. It's groffshow@gmail.com for Photo Friday. I see it now, though. When you kind of do it like this and back and forth, kind of see that. Anyway, groffshow@gmail.com for Photo Friday. We love to lighten it up a little bit. And, well, it's something fun. It's a nice distraction because now this is the part of the video that I don't think anybody wants to see, but here we go. We have to do it. The almanac from yesterday. 117 degrees was the afternoon high. That says all it needs to. 85 was the morning low. 105 and 80 are the averages for this time of year. And yeah, we just missed that record high of 118 degrees from 2017. All right, checking the satellite picture out here across the west. And again, high pressure has been in control. But what you're going to start to notice here is, look what's happening up to the north and west of us. There is a trough digging in across the Pacific Northwest. And this isn't just any old mid-latitude cyclone. This one is going to dig pretty far to the south this weekend. It's going to displace our ridge and actually bring in some cooler temperatures. And we'll actually use the word cooler around here. Now, sure, highs aren't going to drop into the 80s. I know there was a comment on the video yesterday. Someone said their weather app had highs in the 90s. I don't know where some of these weather apps come up with this information. I get some of these guys that come up with their apps and they just like to, I don't know, it's some sort of driving of engagement or whatever. I don't know. But I don't think we're going to have temperatures that far below average, but certainly a few degrees below seasonal averages by Sunday and Monday as that system continues to dig on in here. And we've got moisture well down to the south that will get pulled northward, and we're going to talk about the specifics on that in just a moment. All right, here is the watch warning map, and the big weather headline across much of the continental United States right now is the heat. First of all, obviously here in the southwest, we still have the extreme heat warning for Phoenix. That's through 8 p.m. this evening. That includes south central Arizona, Phoenix, Gila Bend, Casa Grande, Florence, Coolidge, Tucson. Then, of course, up in the Las Vegas Valley, we've had that. And we've got heat advisories further to the north across Utah and some of the adjacent areas. But we also have various heat advisories and extreme heat warnings over the plain states, the central and northern plain states, Omaha, Aberdeen, Sioux Falls, Minneapolis, St. Paul, Des Moines, and then points eastward, we've got an extreme heat watch in effect for parts of Michigan and Ohio, and obviously temperatures are going up. And I know Clayton was asking me about the forecast in Norwalk, Ohio. It's going to start to get pretty warm over there in Ohio, especially later this weekend and early next week, the hottest temps they've had so far this year. Convective outlook for today, an enhanced risk of severe storms, level 3 out of 5. 'Tis the season in the northern plain states, from Dickinson and Hettinger, North Dakota, toward Bismarck, Fargo, Grand Forks, Grafton, Bemidji, Crookston, Minnesota, all in that enhanced risk of severe storms. But the broader risk from Montana eastward all the way into the central Great Lakes states, and another little marginal risk zone out there over the lee of the Rockies. All right, here is the precipitation outlook. This is valid through Friday morning of next week. Rain amounts in Phoenix looks like nothing. Statewide, interestingly enough, we could see rain amounts anywhere from about 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch in parts of extreme east, central, and southeast Arizona. But look what happens over in New Mexico. Rain amounts could exceed 2 to maybe as much as 3 inches over there. Some very deep moisture going to get drawn northward over the next several days. And Arizona, well, southeast Arizona will be on the western flank of that. We're going to talk about what's going on with this weather pattern in more detail. To do that, we explore the models, see what the future may hold. Here we go. This is the GFS. It's the 12Z run. This is valid at 5 o'clock this afternoon. There's that trough off of the Pacific Northwest. It's starting to dig in. And we're seeing it slowly erode the ridge and those upper heights here over the southwest. That's great news. So what it means down at the surface for the rest of the day today, yeah, it's still going to be hot out there. Don't misunderstand what I'm telling you. Highs this afternoon, 106 to 110. The sky is sunny. The air is dry. Tonight, the sky is clear. The air remains dry. Overnight lows mainly in the 70s, although low 80s in the urban core. And then for tomorrow. All right, we've got mostly sunny sky around here. High temperatures falling back a few more degrees, around 102 to 106. And that's pretty much in line with our seasonal averages for this time of year. You'll note some moisture is getting closer to southeast Arizona and New Mexico during this time, but we stay dry. There is a chance at some rain. And yes, even higher elevation snow. How about that over parts of the Pacific Northwest? The Cascades, maybe the mountains of western Idaho could at least see a few snowflakes flying. So that tells you the power of this next trough that's coming into the into the western United States. All right, here's Sunday, and this is likely to be the coolest day of the forecast period for us here in Phoenix, with highs in the upper 90s to about 102. And again, that's a few degrees below our seasonal averages. Now, this trough that's coming in, the problem with it is that its orientation is such that the flow aloft is more southwesterly. And that's a dry flow of air for us this time of year. You know, we're just not going to get that monsoonal moisture coming in here. But further to the east, that southerly, southwesterly flow will be pulling in deeper tropical moisture that's partially associated with the remnants of what was Hurricane Eric. And that's coming northward. And we're going to see at least some isolated to widely scattered showers and thunderstorms possible over parts of east central and southeast Arizona. Looks like the best chance of that will be as we go into next week. So let's keep going. This is Monday. Highs here in Phoenix will probably warm up a degree or two. Still only around 100 to 105. We'll take that for late June. We all know how ridiculously hot it can be this time of year. But again, showers and some thunderstorms increasing over parts of New Mexico. And again, maybe far southeast Arizona. This is Tuesday. And temperatures around here, again, 100 to 104, and scattered showers and storms off to the east of us. How far west those storms get remains to be seen. It is possible we might see an isolated storm as far west as southern Gila County, maybe parts of northeast or north central Pinal County, I guess. Maybe there could be some blowing dust or something, but it's all going to stay away from Phoenix. At least that's how it looks for now. Let's keep going. This is Wednesday. High temperatures still holding close to seasonal averages, probably around 102 to 106. And any rain chances will stay off to the east of us. Here's Thursday. And now we look at widely scattered to maybe even scattered showers and thunderstorms across east central and southeast Arizona as this trough kind of passes on by and it begins to weaken. And we've talked about this for a while. There's going to be kind of this battleground between the deeper monsoonal moisture off to the east and southeast of us and drier air to the north and west. And we're going to start to see this sort of pivot back and forth. And latest model runs bring it a little bit closer to south central Arizona. I still think we're going to stay dry, but that monsoonal moisture, that deeper moisture, is really not that far away from us at all. So it would not take much to pull that in here, and we would love to see that. But at this point, we are going to keep the forecast dry, but high temperatures only around 103 to 107. And you might say, well, only? Well, that is pretty much in line with where we ought to be here in late June. Remember, the record high temperature next Thursday in Phoenix, 122 degrees back in 1990s. So we know late June can be absolutely brutal here. Let's keep going. This is a week from today, Friday the 27th. And some variations on what will play out here have taken place on multiple different runs of the GFS and the ensembles. We've seen an inverted trough try to develop and move into the south central deserts. We've seen kind of a broad deformation zone with scattered showers and thunderstorms across New Mexico and eastern Arizona. Maybe an isolated storm trying to sneak into the lower deserts. But what we're now seeing on the latest runs of the GFS is another trough developing along the west coast. So next Friday, high temperatures would be right around or maybe just a degree above average. Here's Saturday the 28th. We got a trough developing off to the west of us. When I say a trough, this one is not nearly going to be as strong as the one that's coming through here this weekend and early next week. This is out 10 days to Sunday the 29th. Again, a baggy trough sits off to the north and west of us, and we really don't want to see that. If you want to get monsoon moisture in here, you don't want to see a trough out there. You want to see a ridge that's building across the Four Corners or the Rockies or over Utah, something that's going to take that moisture that sits to the south and east of us and pull it off to the north and west. And we want to see that subtropical ridge setting up around the Four Corners in order to do that. And at least the GFS says that probably isn't going to happen for the next 10 days, although it does hint at some moisture coming in here. All right, speaking of, this is the rainfall for Phoenix out through the 5th of July. This is off the GFS ensemble. You got 31 members, and quite a few of them do show at least some very light rain. But again, the ensemble mean still is only about or just over 1/10 of an inch. European ensemble is, much less optimistic on that front, with barely any measurable rain expected during that time. And so, not terribly unsurprising, as typically, and I know if you've only been here in Phoenix the last few years, you don't know this, but typically our first thunderstorms of the monsoon season occur here in Phoenix sometime in the first week to 10 days of July. All right, temperatures off the national blend of models will trend it down this weekend. Highs may even be a degree or two than what's shown here on Sunday, Monday. But then we will gradually warm it up as we go later into next week and that following weekend. We're sure hoping that we're going to start to see that good push of monsoon moisture in here. It's not that far off. All right, that's it for the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion for today. My next video is due back here on Monday morning, but of course, updates before that if necessary. Should you happen to enjoy these videos, and of course you do, be sure to subscribe, like, share, click that notification bell, leave those comments, questions, and suggestions. If you really like what we do here, you want to support the channel, then click that thanks icon below the video here on YouTube and make a monetary contribution to us that way, or even better, do so via our PayPal. groffshow@gmail.com is that PayPal address. It's groffshow@gmail.com for PayPal. Of course, I want to give a special shout out to a couple of people. Clayton for donating this week, and Ashley. Ashley with a big donation to us this week. Really, really do appreciate it. You guys helping us out, keeping this channel going, supporting local content, and keeping it hype free and all of that sort of thing. So we really do appreciate that. And it does not go unnoticed by me. And so I always like to shout out to everybody that donates, and all of you that take the time to watch these videos. I know we've got commercials. We've monetized these videos, and there's commercials, and we've got local sponsors that I voice. We've got Blackstone Roofing, and supporting our sponsors does support us. So I really do encourage you to do that too. If you don't, if you don't want to necessarily donate or whatever, just support our sponsors. Or just sit there and watch these videos. I mean, that's a great way to help support. And if you want, you can comment and like. There's so many different ways to support the channel. And again, I appreciate each and every one of you for taking the time to do that. We have a very small but very, very loyal, very good audience, very just a wonderful contingent here, that bunch of weather geeks out there. We really do appreciate that. All right, the executive producer of the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion is my OAO, the sweetest of all time, the Asian sensation and proprietor of sweetchildaz.com.org and the Facebook page of the same name, Sweet Child Arizona, talking about my Michelle. Check her out, blogs, videos, everything Michelle related. It's all linked up down in the description, so do give that a look. Also, our streaming station, it's available 24/7, 365. It's called KMGX. We play a ton of music and have a lot of fun with that, so give that a listen as well. All right, thank you guys so much for watching, all of your continued support. Really, I do appreciate it so much. Thank you guys. And I want to give a shout out as well to Dan over at the Courtroom Files channel. Why do I shout out to that guy? Well, he's a friend of ours. He's a friend of this channel. And he has certainly helped to bring in some subscribers over here. And were it not for him, we wouldn't have people like Ashley that donated to us. And so, it's one of those things that when you're, just try to be good to other people, pay it forward, that sort of thing. A little life advice if you can. It's not always possible. I realize that, but try whenever you can. All right. Thank you guys so much again. And have yourselves a great Friday, a wonderful weekend. Stay cool, stay hydrated out there. I don't want to read any more stories about people that are going up on these hikes, getting stranded, having to be air vac'd out of there, people losing their lives to the heat or to drowning in swimming pools. Please be careful out there. Again, like I said, it's a loyal, but it's a small audience. I don't want to lose anybody out there. Even if I had millions of people, I wouldn't want to lose anybody, but especially when you've got a smaller audience, you don't want to lose anyone to the crazy stuff out there. All right. You guys be safe and have a great weekend.